Imagine it is a Friday afternoon. Your phone buzzes on your desk. You look down and see the notification you have been waiting for all month. Your salary just hit your bank account. You feel a massive wave of relief and excitement. You suddenly feel rich. You tell yourself that this month will be different. This month, you are going to save aggressively. This month, you are finally going to build that emergency fund. But fast forward, exactly 14 days later, you are standing in the checkout line at a grocery store. You open your banking app to check your balance, and your heart drops into your stomach. The massive number you saw 2 weeks ago is completely gone. You have exactly 42 USD left to survive the rest of the month. You panic. You frantically scroll through your transaction history, looking for the massive emergency or the huge purchase that drained your account. But there is no emergency. There is no single luxury purchase. There is just an endless, exhausting list of tiny invisible transactions. 15 USD here, 8 USD there, 25 USD for something you do not even remember buying. You know what's crazy. You make a fantastic salary. You work incredibly hard, and yet you feel completely broke. You are not bad at making money. You just have absolutely no idea where it goes. Before we dive in, remember this video is for educational purposes only and is not financial advice. Welcome to TAFA Finance, where we explain investing concepts in a simple way. In this channel, we spend way too much time thinking about how people sabotage their own wealth without even realizing it. The concept we are talking about today is the leaky bucket. Think of your financial life exactly like a massive wooden bucket. Your income is the water pouring into the top of the bucket. Every time you get a raise or a promotion, the flow of water gets stronger. Society tells you that if you want to be rich, you just need to pour more water into the bucket. You just need to hustle harder, get a second job, and increase your salary to 150,000 USD a year. But society completely ignores the bottom of the bucket. Your bucket has dozens of tiny invisible holes drilled into the bottom. Every single day, water is quietly leaking out. You can double your income to 300,000 USD a year, but if you do not plug the holes, the bucket will always end up empty. The logical move is to find the leaks and seal them permanently. But your ego hates tracking expenses. Your ego wants to believe that tracking pennies is for poor people. So instead of fixing the bucket, you exhaust yourself trying to pour more water into a system that is mathematically designed to fail. Let me break down the math for you. Let us look at the brutal reality of what happens when you ignore the tiny leaks in your financial bucket. Imagine a highly educated corporate manager who makes 120,000 USD a year. They consider themselves highly logical and responsible, but they refuse to track their spending because it feels restrictive. Every morning, they buy a 7 USD coffee. Every afternoon, they order a 15 USD lunch on a delivery app. On the weekends, they spend 50 USD on random subscriptions they never use and digital items they forget about. In their mind, these are harmless, microscopic expenses. It is just a coffee. It is just lunch. But let us run the brutal numbers. That 22 USD a day on food and coffee equals roughly 660 USD a month. Add the 200 USD a month on unused subscriptions and impulse buys. That is 860 USD leaking out of their bucket every single month. Over the course of a single year, they have burned 10,320 USD on absolutely nothing of lasting value. But that is just the visible cost. Look, and I need you to really listen to this. The true tragedy is the massive, devastating opportunity cost. What if this manager had simply packed their lunch, made coffee at home, and canceled those subscriptions? What if they took that 860 USD a month and invested it into a boring broad market index fund averaging an 8% annual return? If they did that consistently for 10 years, that leaked money would have compounded into over 156,000 USD. If they kept it up for 20 years, it would become over 500,000 USD. In 30 years, that daily coffee and careless spending literally cost them over 1,200,000 USD in future wealth. They are actively choosing to sacrifice a multi-million retirement just to avoid the mild inconvenience of looking at their credit card statement. That's not a coincidence, that's a pattern. The middle class is entirely trapped in a cycle of earning massive amounts of money and then blindly handing it all back to giant corporations through 1,000 tiny, thoughtless transactions. Here is the part that surprises almost everyone. Highly intelligent, deeply educated people are actually the fastest demographic to fall into this trap. Why do incredibly smart people willingly sabotage their wealth by refusing to track their money? It comes down to deeply ingrained psychological traps that completely bypass human logic and intelligence. First, the friction trap and the abstraction of money. The human brain evolved over millions of years to understand physical scarcity. In ancient history, if you handed over 5 physical apples to someone, you immediately felt the loss. Your brain registered a decrease in resources. Hundreds of years ago, when people used physical cash, spending money physically hurt. You had to open your wallet, count the bills, hand them over, and watch your stack of money get smaller. But today, the financial system has engineered the perfect psychological weapon against you. They eliminated the friction. Today, you do not use cash. You use a piece of plastic, or worse, you just double tap the side of your smartphone. Your brain literally does not register that a transaction took place. There is zero biological pain. You tap your phone and a coffee appears. You tap your phone and a taxi arrives. You tap your phone and a movie plays. Because spending money has become completely frictionless, your primitive brain views everything as free. You literally exhaust your life savings to catastrophic levels just because the financial industry removed the biological pain of spending. You pay a massive financial premium just for convenience. Elite investors hack this biological bug by intentionally reintroducing friction into their lives. They force themselves to review every single transaction to manually simulate the pain of loss. Second, the psychological phenomenon of lifestyle creep, also known as Parkinson's law of triviality. The law states that expenses will automatically rise to meet income. When you were a college student living on 15,000 USD a year, you survived. You found a way to make it work. But when you get your first major job paying 80,000 USD a year, something dangerous happens. Your brain immediately recalibrates your baseline for survival. Suddenly, living with roommates feels impossible. Suddenly, driving a used car feels unsafe. Suddenly, cooking dinner feels like peasant work. Your brain is a biological machine violently optimized to match the status of your peers. When you look around the office and see your coworkers wearing expensive clothes and driving luxury cars, your brain registers a drop in social status. Because your primitive brain is obsessed with tribal hierarchy, falling behind feels like social death. You violently abandon your savings goals because upgrading your lifestyle feels like a faster path to emotional safety. You protect your fragile ego, but you completely destroy your financial foundation. True wealth creators hack this by actively disconnecting their self-worth from their spending habits. They violently suppress their lifestyle, intentionally living like they are broke even when they are making millions. Third, the trap of mental accounting. We naturally assume that all money is exactly the same. But the human brain completely tricks you by placing different dollars into different mental buckets. When you receive your normal salary, you treat it seriously. You use it to pay rent and buy groceries. But when you get a 2,000 USD tax refund or a 1000 USD holiday bonus, your brain categorizes that money differently. Your brain labels it as free money or play money. Instead of using that 1000 USD to pay off your high-interest credit card debt, you immediately spend it on a luxury vacation or a new television. You falsely believe that because the money was a surprise, spending it has no negative consequences. Because your wealth is tied up in these irrational emotional buckets, you exhaust your mental energy fighting a losing battle against your own impulsive desires. You trap your future in decades of financial stress simply because receiving a bonus triggered your primitive reward system. The rich hack this by realizing that every single, no matter where it comes from, belongs in the exact same logical bucket. A lot of bonus money has the exact same compounding power as a of salary money. Here is the catch. You can completely rewrite this toxic biological programming by attacking the root identity of your spending habits, rather than just trying to make more money. You cannot just rely on manual willpower to stop buying things. You need a cold, hard system to protect your money from your own emotional brain. Decide that today you will implement the 72-hour rule. Stop relying on your primitive instincts to decide what you need to buy in the heat of the moment. Your primitive brain is highly susceptible to targeted marketing and shiny objects. You must establish a strict mechanical boundary that prevents you from falling into impulse spending. Decide right now that for any non-essential purchase over 50 USD, you must force yourself to wait exactly 72 hours before buying it. You must put the item in a mental waiting room. During these 3 days, the massive spike of dopamine and adrenaline in your brain will naturally collapse. You mathematically force your logical brain to take control back from your emotional brain. You build unstoppable psychological momentum because 90% of the time, after 72 hours, you will realize you never actually needed the item at all. Decide that today you will practice zero-based budgeting. Your financial anxiety is directly influenced by the fact that your money has no clear direction. If you leave money sitting aimlessly in your checking account, your brain will find a way to spend it. You must completely remove the ambiguity from your financial life. Every single time you get paid, you must assign every single specific job before the month even begins. Income minus expenses minus investments must equal exactly 0. If you have 500 USD left over, you do not just leave it there. You assign it to an investment fund or a debt payment. By giving every a strict mathematical mission, you safely starve your biological urge to waste resources. You mathematically trap yourself into building wealth because your money is already deployed before your ego has a chance to spend it. Decide that today you will automate your escape. You must completely remove the human ego from your saving strategy. Stop trying to manually save whatever is left over at the end of the month, because I promise you there will never be anything left over. You must decide today that true status is paying yourself first. True status is having a massive cushion of liquid cash working silently in the background while everyone else is panicking over their credit card bills. Set up your banking system so that the very second your paycheck hits your account, 20% is automatically transferred into your investment portfolio before you even wake up to see it. By completely removing the human decision-making process, you mathematically free up your mental energy to focus entirely on increasing your actual skills and enjoying your life. Big takeaway. The absolute fastest way to stay permanently broke is to deeply believe that making a high income automatically makes you wealthy. True wealth is not about out-earning your terrible spending habits to finally feel superior. True wealth is about absolutely refusing to surrender your capital to a primitive emotional need for convenience and social status. True wealth is owning the boring, invisible digital systems that capture and compound your money over time, while everyone else is panicking and destroying their peace of mind trying to figure out where their paycheck went. If you look at your past and realize you have completely panicked and wasted hundreds of thousands of dollars on useless transactions over the years, take a deep breath. Do not panic. You are not stupid. You are not lazy. You are not a weak person destined for failure. You are simply fighting against millions of years of human tribal evolution that relentlessly prioritizes immediate gratification and social signaling over your long-term survival. You are fighting this battle against a massive financial marketing machine designed to monetize your convenience and abstract your money into a video game. Wanting to enjoy your money is completely normal. The problem only starts when that desire begins making your financial decisions for you. Acknowledging this psychological warfare is the very first step to escaping it. You have the ultimate power to step out of your comfort zone and plug the holes in your bucket right now. If you found value in this breakdown, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so we can keep making these videos for you. Let me know down in the comments. What is the most ridiculous, tiny daily expense you finally cut out of your life that ended up saving you massive amounts of money? Be honest. I read every single one. Also, check out this other video on the screen right now where we break down another massive investing myth. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.